All right. Welcome to the Collaboration Zone. This is our 48th, and really excited about figuring out together some answers to some tough questions. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Seema Chaudhary from Harbinger Group, the Chief Alliance Officer. Go ahead, Seema.
Thank you very much. We're, of course, diving into our favorite topic today. First of all, thanks to Board for bringing us on this platform. I have been privileged to have a lot of information here, talk about things that are not normally talked on many of the platforms or meetings. That's mostly brainstorming a lot of times, but we get to do that here, get to learn a lot at the same time, network with each other, see how we can help in this HR tech community. And my role as a partnership, I have a lot of benefits and advantage from this particular platform that many people created years back. So today's topic is about AI first versus AI layered and what buyers need to know. It's a topic not from a perspective where we're going to teach you what AI is about. It's not about that. It's about how buyers have challenges choosing AI. And we're going to address that from technology side. So everybody has a little background on what Harbinger is about. I head our partnerships. Shrikant is our president and CTO. He spoke at many places, and a passionate technologist at the same time leads our business into the right technology for our clients. Shrikant's going to lead the conversation today, and we also have Rohan Udas, our AI architect. It's not only going to be talk, it's going to be demo also. So think about it. It's a different opportunity for people who can ask questions. What do we talk about? What do you mean by AI layered, or what is technology thinking, and how to uncover some of these things here in today's session. Going into what Harbinger is about, we established in 1990. In our 35th year, we're about 850 people, mostly engineers, software developers, architects, now AI architects. We build software technology solutions and engineer them along with our content engineering that we provide to enterprises as well as ISVs. Our strength is we have designed 500 products that are out in the market for our clients. I'm very proud to say that we have 40% plus women in the workforce, which is very unusual in an IT company, over 35% women leadership in our company. The awards are right there listed. These are most recent awards, 2024, I think some of them. They are mostly in our content engineering, learning, and also we have an AI patent that keeps our innovation going. Some of our platform partners that are on the right-hand side here, ServiceNow, we are looking at ServiceNow in their HR domain. How do we bring our expertise into some of these platforms? Workado is another workflow automation platform that we work with. They also have AI built into it now. Adobe Solutions Partner is their Adobe Learning Manager, which helps our content business, content learning, Skillsoft, Intellum, and Darwinbox, a new kid on the block on the US side. It's a HRIS. Moving on to our topic today, why we are here. We want to bring knowledge, we want to bring questions to the right community. And also, I would appreciate if everybody can contribute their thinking. Maybe we are wrong in some places. Maybe we want to think about some different things. We want to hear all that and give us some input on that. Going on to Shrikant.
Thanks, Seema, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are, and good evening if you're joining from other places. As Seema said, we have been helping a lot of product companies build AI tools, AI products, specifically in the HR space. Recently, it's been quite a discussion as to what kind of applications are really gaining traction. What are buyers looking for? What should we be building? What are the things that is working and not working? So we thought we'd start the conversation there and give you some demos of tools that we have built and get sets of feedback about what you think about the approach and what works in situations where you have encountered AI applications, either successful or not so successful ones. So we'll talk about some of the trends just to lay out the trend and the problem statement. We specifically will talk about what we mean by re-engineering or rebuilding an AI platform. Then we'll also talk about just building an AI workflow, not building an entire platform. How do organizations do that and what elements are involved in that? And of course, just to emphasize both those points, we'll give you some visual demo as well, like actual working platforms, so that you get an idea of what we are trying to and highlight the differences as we go. About 4 or 5 months back, MIT published research that 95% of the current generative AI projects are not generating any meaningful revenue or probably impact as well. They are all lab related work or some good to have kind of tool sets, except the very few large companies out there who have access to a wide market, and their tool sets and applications are being used very widely. If you look at last 3 years and if you look at GitHub, the maximum number of new applications that are being created there are generative AI powered applications. In last 3 years, there are more than 150,000 applications that, whether it's a workflow or whether it's an application, there is an AI version of it out there. So there's that much engineering happening. But whether all of it is happening and whether it is effective and being done correctly is the question. One big challenge as to why these applications are not as successful is probably because of the data silos that exist between applications. So if you take HR as an example, there are more than 3,000 vendors and there are probably tens and thousands of applications if you take niche solutions as well as platforms. And everybody controls their data. So from an enterprise perspective, they're looking to create or derive value out of applications. It's very hard unless they collaborate, they integrate, and they have access to that information in a seamless fashion. So within applications, probably the AI is working, but across applications, leveraging that and doing some tasks or jobs is inherently difficult and still difficult. Second point is about most of the AI rollouts are internal. That means they are internal facing apps, whereas external facing apps, they don't scale or they are solving very pointed use cases. If you try to go beyond that, then they're not working as well. Therefore, the maturity is not at the pace at which these applications are being developed. So there we came up over the last 7 or 8 months, we were talking to various customers and we came up with two different sort of approaches. This could be either design level choices or buyer choices, depending upon if you're building applications, there could be two ways how you build applications, or when you buy, there could be two kinds of applications that you buy. So the first version we call is a complete re-platform. That means you probably are living with an AI application and you think the use case is such, let's say maybe an interview module or a ATS platform or a learning platform, that you need to ground up build the whole AI. That means you want every aspect of the interface of the application to be AI. So for example, companies like Paradox, the recruiting workflow is conversational. There is no other way of doing it. Those kind of transformations. Whereas there could be other options where AI is not there in your core platform. That means your core platform or your ATS or your learning management works as is. There is no AI in it, but the AI sits outside as almost like a workflow connecting and working with different tools that the application exposes. Could be agents or applications. What you're building is an workflow or an orchestration. So we'll show you examples of both these. The big challenge that comes from a buy standpoint or also from a build standpoint is when you make these decisions as to which applications you want to ground up, re-engineer, or reuse as a core AI native application, or which ones you want to create workflows and expose that to your customers or buyers is a choice. If you make this choice wrong, then you could end up in a situation where it's not very effective or you're not making revenue on some of these things. Before we go into the demo of native AI application and bring Rohan into doing that, a high level visualization of how an AI first or an AI native application would be. What most of these platform companies are doing, or even when we are helping companies, they have different modules, be it their LMS, the ERP, their performance management, HR platforms. We are taking interfaces from these platforms, adding an AI layer for ingesting all the data and information. And we are creating native AI features like course recommendations, learning roadmaps, project readiness, and exposing it through various interfaces, be it web, mobile, project management application, or mail, Teams, whatever it might be. Inherently, the application is using AI behind the scenes. You don't see the AI or experience the AI as it happens. The tasks that you perform on the application, they automatically leverage the AI engine and the backend and then you get those results. These are what we call AI native applications. They are also transforming the way users interface with your applications. There is a user training or a user experience change that you are expecting. How they interacted with your performance management or learning management is going to change in the future. So there is going to be that user adoption challenge also. But the advantage is users don't have to worry about how to use AI or how to figure out getting a task done. It's all embedded seamlessly in the platform. On that note, let me bring in Rohan into the conversation. We have built or visualized the SkillSense AI applications like a skilling platform, which essentially takes in all the information in various systems like learning management, performance management, workforce scheduling, and tries to help managers as well as engineers reskill themselves, get course recommendation, plan for their projects, and so forth. So, Rohan,
thank you, Shrikant, for setting a platform. So this is the tool, which is where we have embedded AI into every part, which gives the personalized recommendation, which do the core analytics part by its own, by collecting data, doing the processing. Let me log in and just walk you through. So this is the landing page. So instead of showing a static page, here you can see we have incorporated AI components. So here AI is running in the behind and it is collecting a data. It collects data from different system that as I have logged in, this is a tech manager's role, and for manager's position, AI has recommended this courses to be done in next 6 to 12 months on his personal skills, skill gaps, his aspirations, as well as his next career track as well. Means if any project is coming into the pipeline, and if we have added that into our ERP, so it will get that data and add it into your learning skills. So this is the core learning roadmap which is generated by the AI. Then when we go to the course list, so this is the general list. So we don't want, this is a huge list and we need to scroll and find which are relevant for us. But instead of that, if we hand it over to the AI, so AI will run into that, analyze the content for each course and create the list which is specially for you. It's not a big list. It will be just 3 or 4 courses that are relevant with your skills. So these are project alignment, advanced UX design, cloud development, cybersecurity fundamentals. And why they are recommended, we can see that these are the reasons which AI has given. For these reasons, these courses are recommended, and what levels will get after this course is also been shown over here. Then we have one more factor. As this is a manager, he needs to work with his team where come with the project readiness, that whether my team is ready to take up any project, what are the readiness of my team with the skills. So we give the project requirement, we have individual team members skills, so we combine all together and we get the project readiness. So here we have a digital plant management as a project for a client. We have 33 members under him. So it says that 60% only we are ready. And why we are ready, it has given the reason. What skill gaps are there, has identified that. Then what skill requirements are there, that Azure level 4 is required, Angular level 4 is required. These are all total KPIs or the metrics which we have taken for the readiness purpose. These are the individual team members and what are their key traits. AI has also given us the immediate actions, that what actions I should take. Also, each team member has some skill gaps and what courses they need to do. So this is a team level based approach where manager can take it up, and this is all about, and let me just show you the profile as well. So this is a project manager and these are the projects he is working on. These are the current skills, and after completion of a roadmap which AI has given, so this will be his future skill. So from here he will go up to there, and these are current learning tracks. So that's all about this tool. So I'll take a pause over here and Shrikant to take it further.
What you saw over here was data from multiple, of course, from our learning platform. It had data from our project management, where what people with what skill sets are available in the team. And it also had their managers' ratings on different skills and tools. So it combined all of this together, but it was visualized in a new application. Today, if a new project comes into the organization, our supply chain people don't have to go through multiple platforms to collect and give this information. They can they can add the type of the project and number of people required, and it'll give the analysis of how ready we are and how much time we will take to get fully prepared to start execution. It's like a reimagining of our learning and supply chain.
Wow. It combines a lot together for sure. Is this a prototype that you built for the market to sell direct to the market? Is it designed to be implemented by some of your vendor customers?
Of course, we are using it internally. We are also showcasing it in the HR community as well as enterprise customers to see if there's interest for a tool like this. Of course, people in their applications will combine this in different ways. We are not at the moment thinking about it like a product, but if you see more and more excitement about people wanting to use something similar and they want to use it as is, then it's available to license it and implement it.
You would custom build it around their current systems and platforms. Sounds similar to what a ServiceNow might be offering out there from a wrapper standpoint, but you've also got that internal knowledge of the other systems out there that you can bring into it, right?
Yeah. So now the same thing, let's do a different way of accomplishing it. The other approach is more like what many large companies out there doing as well. When they're trying to implement something internally, they may not be using it as a part of the platform. What they're trying to do is they're trying to build some sort of a conversational bot-based interface, which can take in various tasks. Behind the scenes, the AI agent is doing multiple things. Like when it gets the task, it is figuring out how to think about that, plan it, execute it. And when we say execute it, it actually means working with different AI applications or agents that are out there or traditional apps to prepare as to how to execute that task. And then finally, once that task and the plan comes in place, before it executes, do a review as well. If the review is not appropriate, then go back into the whole thinking to execution planning engine and redo that task and then execute it. This particular way of execution requires more skills on the actual user who's trying to do that task. Here, a lot of the AI features are being exposed to the user as if for them to actually change, play with it, understand how the task is being executed and work with it. We call this as power users way of working with AI. Essentially, what it's doing is enabling different workflows, either within an application or across applications. This kind of interface is also useful in cases where you want to introduce AI as a new layer, like you don't want to make any changes to your traditional workflows, applications, the way they work today. You want your existing users to use them as is, but you're giving a whole different AI interface where there is much deeper control, but it enables workflows and applications in a whole different manner and helps them execute tasks or even do new types of tasks, which previously were not easily possible. So we have built an orchestration workflow engine and we've created many applications there. So I would have Rohan now show you that interface and execute something similar that what he tried to show you in the SkillSense application to see how this can be visualized.
Before you move on to example, I mean, your history is just totally engaging that community. There's not a group that better knows the dilemmas of learning and of career progression. How much is truly an enterprise solution? Could it be something that could be utilized for the middle market, the 300 to 500 employee type companies?
So it could be used for smaller enterprises as well, the SMBs as well. We are less than 1,000 people and we are using it. So obviously, if you have different applications and you are trying to build AI into each one of them, trying to make something happen, we would rather say that, okay, rather than that, either create a workflow on top of it or ground up build, collect data from all those applications and build a completely new interface that changes the way you work and accomplish the tasks that you were earlier doing.
We have iWorkflow. So this is an orchestration platform. Let me log in and walk you through. Here you can see this is a chatbot like interface. Here we have logs. In runtime, what is happening, we can see that over here. And these are the 4 main agents: thinking, planning, execution, and review. And if we go below, these are the available tools, or let's say the enterprise level apps which are sitting in the enterprise, which are coming under this as a tools, which these agents can execute, complete their task. So there are several tools, and for this demo we have specially created this as learning recommendation, career guidance, skill gap analysis, learning progress tracker, and profile synthesis. So now let me start with a demo. I have this task. So let me give this task. So create a comprehensive profile for an employee. So this is a employee code that integrates career guidance, learning recommendation, and progress tracking, a stylish professional presentation format. So let me give this task to this tool. Let's see what it does. So now in the thinking phase, it has taken my input. So I've given this task and try to break down that task into several steps. So it has created 4 steps. So we have 2 options. We can proceed with this number of tasks, or we can revisit that. So let's say I also want a skill gap analysis also in list. So I will tell AI that I want skill gap also. So now AI will again go back to the thinking phase, and now we can see instead of 4 we have 5 tasks, and this is the skill gap task is also been added over here now. So now we are okay with this and we'll proceed with task. So now for those tasks, the planning agent will plan which tools need to be triggered, and here we can see all the running logs as well. So for each task, planning agent has identified that for completing this task, tool is required and what are the inputs for that. So we can see those inputs also. Currently it's just an employee ID, and for the 5th step we can see it needs this variable, and which are these variables which are flowing from the above 4 tasks. Our flow understands that it needs to combine the output which is generated by this above 4 tool, and it has been aligned in that fashion. So I'm good with the task. Here we can see that these 4 tools were triggered parallelly, and the 5th tool is now collecting all the data and making a profile of that.
Are those individual tools like agents, or are they more like a on-demand report? What
These
would you call them?
tools are currently, these are the agents which has LLM connected, as well as they have the database access into the backend of different to LMS, profiles, project management tools, ERPs. From there, they collect the data on the runtime, and on the basis of request, they create the output.
So it could be any application that can expose an interface. So it doesn't have to be an AI application. So it could be a Salesforce app also. The reason that thinking planning is important, and it shows which tool or application it is using. So for example, if you have multiple LMSs or multiple platforms and you want to say, oh, doing this task, use this ATS and this recruitment agent and this interview bot, then you can actually make those changes. Whereas when you don't give that control to the end user, the AI is making the decisions. You cannot make those changes.
You're right there. So we have got the result from the review phase, and this is the final output, that total profile and what we have requested. So this person is John and he is project manager, his current profile. Then we have his performance dashboard. We have his skill matrix. We have his skill gaps. Then what growth he needs to be done, and what learning he has to do, and what are his recent wins, means which courses he has completed, and what are the action items for him. Also, along with this, here we can see which phases, and from each phase, how many iterations it has done, which tools it have been triggered in this workflow. So this is all about the iWorkflow. It is not just limited to these tools. We can connect any kind of, we can see here the Wikipedia. So this is a knowledge base from where we can fetch the knowledge from the Wikipedia. If we require any task over here which needs knowledge from the Wikipedia. We have GitHub also. We can develop issues or the repos from the GitHub directly just by telling this chatbot. It's a multiple platform connectivity we have enabled from here.
Some of the system integrators that implement various systems, when they're like, okay, they're not using Workato, or maybe they built their own APIs to different vendors and they've got Cornerstone, they've got SuccessFactors, and now they're like, okay, we need to better tie these together. Is that what this would be used for, to help connect those?
You could connect those, but essentially what this is trying to orchestrate some AI-enabled tasks or AI-enabled decision-making through that process. It's not so much, oh, we are solving your integration problem using this. It may still need to be solved separately.
It's more modular to help get insights out of their skill gap assesses. You have their things that maybe aren't in their existing platforms. If they are, they're not easy to change.
Yeah, think that you want to, let's say, for sake of better example, you want to generate a job profile, right, of a new candidate or a manager. or a leader, you could use your yes or recruitment platform to create that using their AI. Or you could put the query here where it says that, okay, go to GitHub and also go to Wikipedia, get information about how this profile is described there. Also use our own people's information, which is there in some HRMS or some other platform, and how they describe themselves, and then create this particular job profile. Here, the flexibility that you get is you are deciding how AI is used to get that task executed. How is it planning it? How is it breaking it down? How is it generating the final output? Whereas in many applications, when you use it, you just see the final response. You don't get to tell them that do anything differently, except for the prompting bit.
All right. Hand up there, Morris.
It seems like it would be two different users. The first application is a true or almost true, but a skilled end user, where this one is, I don't want to say a systems person, but someone with understands what it is, the details of what you're asking them to do.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it looked like it was either a senior exec or somebody who's staffing a project could use that first one. This one is, okay, somebody who's staffing a project, but truly understands think, plan, execute, and understands what is the difference between the tools, and understands I want to point to GitHub or wherever. They have to have a set of knowledge to use this tool as opposed to that other tool. And then even more so, many of the ATSs or other products, you don't have to have any knowledge. You're just basically saying, give me a job description for a programmer.
Yeah.
So to me, what this one does answers many of the questions about responsible AI is it opens the box to say, where do you want me to look? And then you know your sources. So you might know your biases or the biases of those sources. And I think that's very valuable, but also a much harder sell.
Yeah, much harder sell. Also, let's say if people are very concerned about, let's say you're using AI behind the scenes and you're charging me number of times, right? I execute the task, it doesn't come out right, and I'm just paying money. Whereas this particular control then says, okay, you are participating in that thinking and reviewing process while AI is also doing that. So you have a much deeper control. Of course, it's more involved, but it's more transparent to users who want to go at the next level of detail.
Kind of like somebody who gets just a report, not even a report. It's a dashboard of metrics, as opposed to someone who gets to write their own searches and their own reports, right? They've got to know the database, but then they also have that level of understanding of what's in the database and what's its pros and cons. How's our data valid or not? Whereas the senior exec just gets a dashboard and goes, fire these people. So it's a very big difference. I love the fact that you split it out. I think this would be a great education tool to show to human resources people about the different ways that AI could be used. I don't know that it's a selling point exactly, other than if you charge them for education.
Of course, enterprises looking to build the AI within a particular application, within that scope, is always restricted to their data and their information. When you want to go across applications and enterprises want to use things across 5, 10, 15 applications that they have, then they have a challenge saying that unless I have connected them deeply or I've figured out how it works, I cannot use the AI across applications. I have to be restricted within that scope of what they're trying to do. This also expands that capability while they figure out or buy a different application that is ground up engineered and solves all their problems within the application. This could be a way of handling those kind of tasks.
To the theme of the event, the buyer's trying to figure out, okay, what do we need to do whatever they're missing? Maybe one of these widgets you have on the tool set there. What's the discovery process? Is it like what Morris is saying, like you got the first application, which you showed is more of a hands-on user, and the customer might not have to have a lot of training to use it. This is something that's pretty in-depth. Is this marketed more to IT and then the other to senior HR leaders?
Yeah, we are still figuring that out. We are just saying that these are two ways of doing things. We have seen that it's also good for vendors who are not too sure whether they want to rebuild their whole application. If they just want to give an AI workflow, they can make it look and feel, they can remove all the think, plan, execute. They can just do it like a bot, overlaying as an interface, but you remove all the bells and whistles and it looks like a bot that is executing and doing some stuff.
So you could white label it for vendors that haven't built this yet and figured it would be faster, cheaper, easier to just license it from you and use it.
Yeah, both have advantages and disadvantages. And I think you rightly got it, saying that the main application is for an end user who doesn't want to know how the AI works behind the scenes. Like even using a bot interface and getting some things done can be quite challenging for a user who's natively used to point and click and get their information. If they have to learn how to prompt and how to ask the right kind of question, give the right kind of data to get the output, they take a while. It looks good in demos. To get to that right amount of input, people spend hours at times making it work. That's why we say it could be best of both, but we see large application platform companies re-platforming and making AI intuitive as seamless, whereas the smaller providers might go the way of creating these workflows, keeping the traditional apps as is, and not changing their core application till the time they think that the user is ready to switch. So that's the theory. But of course, it depends from buyer to buyer, it depends from vendor to vendor, how their approach is.
Could the SIs use this in multiple engagements, or would they need their own? Could they rent it? If they've got a project where, ooh, we really need to tie some things together. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah,
There's a lot of potential buyers here in various roles of delivering on an
So
HR
what-
system.
So what we have built in both cases is the framework and a use case, if you will, of how it can be used. Of course, you can add the tools, you can make changes to the core application and reuse it for a new purpose or a new need quite fast. It can be done in probably weeks or a month's time, depending upon if you're clear with your use case.
The key to this tool, the iWorkflow, is the tools that you have linked to it already, right?
Yes.
Who or how does that get done in concert with you and your team that you're helping? Can you go down to some of those tools? Those couple at the top, those are the tools from your other demo, right?
Yes.
You've just boxed them out to say, hey, what should we use? And you've taken the veneer off of that other app, and now we're seeing more of the stuff behind the scenes. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain kind of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, right.
What are these other ones that are down? And does the thing get delivered with available tools already defined, or are those part of the setup to get this tool to a customer?
Remaining ones are the additional tools that are out there. They're more like open source tools that we usually leverage an AI application for images, for searching code repositories, and so forth. Most applications that you will see call themselves agent, they will expose their capabilities through an MCP, they will expose the API. So you should be able to add those tools or agents into this library, depending upon whatever the enterprise has. So let's say, for example, the Workday interface that is available, we could add that as well. So this can grow. Only thing is, you as an enterprise or you as a user need to understand what are you trying to accomplish and how do you want to bring these applications together. So that's the end customer's choice.
So let's say something like compensation resources. We want to do analysis on, are we paying women more than men, or green people more than blue people, or whatever. Now we're talking about bringing in our HRIS data, our demographic data, our compensation data, and our historical job history data, probably our personal performance data and that kind of thing. So now you're interfacing to one or more other things, and you'd end up creating a tool down there that says something like goal, grades and bands, salary history analysis, or something.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could be that specific application's interface.
Okay.
So the intelligence in the AI is that once it knows the APIs and the definitions of the APIs, it can figure out which calls to make. So it's not like how you would connect in traditional applications where the workflow and that integration is so tightly coupled that it has to be that way. Because AI will try to execute and get the information for you using the best known API that can be called.
Also, Shrikant, I want to add over here, iWorkflow has a dynamic capability of creating a workflow, whereas in the other tool, we have predefined a workflow. And for example, here, this workflow to create an AI roadmap is predefined. You cannot alter this workflow over here. That in this, I want to add more KPIs or some more data in this. So I cannot give that input over here. But instead of that, when it comes to here, I can give that input in the task only, that I want this data to be added in this along with the salary. So along with the skills, I also want the gap into the salaries of different roles. So that open or dynamicness we get over here, the flexibility to create our own task.
Thanks for adding that. So I think since we're at the top of the hour, I'll just go ahead and
Yeah, we got 2 minutes to wrap up here. Sorry, I didn't give you the full 5-minute warning.
So basically, whether you're a buyer or whether you are a vendor looking to build, you have to think about whether you want to create something very AI native, where AI is core to the application and everything that you do is in the flow of work, or you want to keep your existing applications as is and you want to enable workflows by connecting various components, tools, agents in such a way that you're only creating or enabling new workflows, but you're keeping the traditional way of doing things as is. So both have advantages and disadvantages, like we discussed. One requires slightly more knowledgeable user, whereas in the other case, it's more intuitive. But at the same time, that will require probably a lot of work. This will require less work. And as we make those changes and those people see the impact, then they can go back and build the application. So there are pros and cons of both. I think as we discuss this with more and more people, we'll probably figure out what works in what segments. I think it's not going to be one over the other. Both will have users, but use case to use case, it will change. But if you make the wrong choice, then your whole AI experience and adoption and impact could be a lot different. So on that note, I'd like to thank Seema and Rohan for joining me today to share this presentation as well as demos with all of you. If you're looking anywhere for AI engineering and you don't know whether to build, buy, or integrate or what you want to do, then feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to collaborate.
Thank you. Thanks, Shrikant. Thanks, Wald.
Special thanks to Shrikant, Rohan, and Seema from Harbinger Group for delivering a fabulous discussion on timely topics. Also thanks to our event sponsor, Harbinger Group, one of the founding members of the HR Tech Alliance's community platform. A huge shout out to our 2,000 plus members, especially our founding and corporate members, for their continuing support of the HR Tech Alliance's community platform. It's our subscribing members who provide the primary funding that powers our community platform and empowers our mission.